Ooh, we got some big news today, Dark Age of Camelot fans, or people who's heard of it and never got to play it, so stick with me to the end of the video because the surprises are just going to keep rolling through this whole video. This is a lot to unpack. So, before I get into the new server and all the details that they have talked about in their dev talk on Twitch, I want to just say first that they made it super clear throughout the whole video, and I'm not going to talk a lot about on this one, but they do still consider Ywain it's their main core server. So updates may slow down for the time being because they are now they're a small team and they're working on a new server. Now let's talk about the new server. Of course, they've discussed in the past, I've covered it, you know about it, progression servers or a classic version server, which is just that chance to play it like it used to be, or for everyone to just start on an even playing field. And now they've played around, they've done votes, they've talked to the community and all that kind of thing to gather a lot of the information for what they decided to go with on this new server. And we're going to be talking timelines, everything, so stick with me through this whole video. Now they talked about as far as it going through expansions, that will be up to the community, and we're going to get to more in that in a minute because I know there's a particular expansion you're worried about, and we will get to that. Now they communicated with the community to decide what to do exactly with this new server type, and the idea of events and things that aren't possible on Ywain got brought up and became kind of fleshed out into this new kind of classic server feel. Now because it's a new server, they will be able to do some new things that wouldn't make much sense on Ywain or would be harder to pull off. So what I want you to do is think of this as a classic adjacent server. So some aspects from certain expansions would absolutely be omitted. Can we all say Trials of Atlantis gear, etc. Now this will be a persistent server that retains the classic feel, but with the end game objectives are going to change as the server goes on. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. So when the server launches, it will be all about getting the max level, getting into RBR, and out on the frontiers. And that's what they want the core, as soon as the server launches, that's what everybody's going to be doing. Trying to get to max level, grouping up, going out, doing PvE and all that kind of thing. So they've decided it's not necessarily going to be a progression server per se, but one that retains a classic feel, but does move through some newer content over time, but leaving out others that they think in hindsight may have damaged the MMO. I think we all know what they're talking about there. It's pretty obvious. Now, the era that they've discussed is 1.2 through 1.6. That's what they are defining as classic. That's what the community always defines as classic, and pretty much that is pre-Trials of Atlantis. So they are using that as a reference to what they want the new server to be like. Now, there are some quality of life that will remain from Dark Age of Camelot today. They are going to kind of toe a line of a classic feel, but with more quality of life. So known bugs that they have now and know about will be removed. Updates to the UI will stay in. So they want it to be a classic server, but more modern. The length of time it took to get to level 50 back then was massive, for example. It took a long freaking time. This is more of a thing that made sense back then, but really they don't believe, and I kind of got to agree, it wouldn't work today. Not enough people make it to level, they would quit, they drop off, etc. So progression does have to be faster. So leveling will be sped up from the actual classic experience, but you can expect it to be slower than it is today on Ywain to ensure that the PvE leveling up experience is still there. Grouping up and meeting people in your realm is still a big part of getting to level 50, and a big part of just making you feel like you're part of that realm, like you belong there, that server pride and that realm pride that used to be there. Now they want the challenge of the journey to still be there, is basically what I'm trying to say. The event component of this new server, the example they gave looks like this: end game invasions to invade another realm with like objectives. So a realm comes together to invade another realm. Now obviously I would assume they'd have to have things they would need to have in place. They have to have certain objectives they've already completed in order to get to the point where they can invade another realm, and then that gives them a chance to take like an enemy realm's trophy or something and place it in their major city with some kind of benefits to their realm. Now they think this will encourage realm pride, guild camaraderie, an aspect that was very important in the early days of Dark Age of Camelot and really made DAoC come alive. I mean, that was what Dark Age of Camelot was all about, and I think that's a really cool idea. I mean, invasions, getting to actually go to another realm for real, go there, sack their city and that kind of thing. That is an excellent idea. And Warhammer Online had, well, I don't think they never really fully fleshed that out, but that was a big concept for that game, and Dark Age of Camelot could certainly benefit from that. Now there would be more events than just that. That's just one example. They want other dynamic events that happen over time to keep everybody, playing the game invested and excited to continue playing. Now progression is what made classic Dark Age Age of Camelot so good. So they want to ensure that the feeling and the meaning of progression is high on the new server. Now the timeline, it's time to talk about the timeline. So it's taken longer than they wanted it to get the server ready. They are crafting it very carefully. They want it to really hit all the right fun branches on their way down, right? They are thinking summer 2022 is still possible. And what I mean by that is by the end of summer to have a testing phase so they can ensure that the official launch is strong and stable. And I really do believe they're expecting a fairly large amount of players to come back. You know, I'm thinking around 5 to 10,000 people. I'm gonna be honest. I think around 5 to 10,000 people if they really do this right and it's as cool as they're talking about right now. I think that's a pretty fair number of people that will probably be piling in on launch day. I mean, this is a legendary MMORPG we're talking about here. So this test at the end of summer, so they're planning and hoping for right now, will also allow them to try out their ideas for the server and make sure it works and make sure it's fun. Now, depending on how this test goes, we'll decide how long before the server launches. Now, they also promise better communication on updates for this server and details. So they've been pretty bad about communication lately, so that's good to hear and hoping that they, you know, follow up on that. There's also a storyline that goes along with this server too, they mentioned, and an idea like this, I'd like to say, has never been done before for any classic MMO. So they're making it classic, but they're taking ideas that still fit with what the core of Dark Age of Camelot is, and they're going for it. And that's why they're calling it an event server, because there is events that will happen on the server, such as being able to invade other realms, and who knows what other ideas they have. Maybe dragons attacking, you know, and all that kind of thing. We don't really know all the details on those, but that's why they're not calling it necessarily a classic server, even though classic Dark Age of Camelot is the goal for this. Now, let's talk about Frontiers. So, as I definitely know, and you probably know, and everybody probably knows, there's a lot of people clamoring for old Frontiers. However, the majority of the community sample, according to them, says that they're, agrees that there's more advantages to PvP and the way keeps can be attacked and strategized, and that they will be sticking with New Frontiers for this classic server. But they are still struggling with which way to go for sure, but as of now, it is New Frontiers, mainly just because of all the advantages and extra gameplay opportunities that New Frontiers has. And that's the main bits and kibbles and juicy details for the Dark Age Camelot Classic Server, aka Event Server, coming soonish. So looks like a test at the end of summer. If that goes well and everything goes good and they got everything in all their ducks in a row, then perhaps we could see it in the fall. I would think by winter, almost no matter what, they should have everything worked out and we should be seeing that release. Real quick, before we continue, I want to say thank you to the members of Napalm. You are the sponsors of this video and channel. These are the brave heroes who have stepped forth and pledged, making everything I do possible. Thank you. If you are interested in becoming a member of Napalm with exclusive perks, please click the join button down below for a list of options. And I want to give a very special thank you to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, We Toke Bitcoins, Jared Woodhouse, Daimlos, Farthest Reach, Not Sid, Sparrow, Carsonic, and Christopher Hensel. Thank you for your highest tier membership. Now on to the video. So I'm super excited. I've been wanting a real classic experience, and you know what? This sounds kind of better because it's a classic experience plus some new things that have never been done before. And if they really can provide events to keep us excited on what's coming up, what's down the road, you know, and things like that, then they could really have a winner on their hands here, and this could be a major revival moment for Dark Age of Camelot. But I'm more interested in hearing what you think. What do you think about these ideas? Do you think this could work? Are you excited? Are you going to play? I know I am. I'll get a guild going because we had a lot of fun playing on the Phoenix Dark Age of Camelot server. And it was, let's be honest, that was not a classic Dark Age of Camelot. The leveling up was way faster. Still slower than current, you know, playing on Ywain, but it was way faster. The gear was all kinds of crazy. There was major differences, and they even had some added new end-game things in that game as well that isn't in Dark Age of Camelot. Definitely wasn't in Classic. So we had a ton of fun, so I think we'll do it again, but this time it'll be on an official live server, which just, you know, just makes things feel good, especially because it's got official support, right? But are you gonna play? Do you like these? What do you like? What do you not like? Let me know. Sound off in the comments down below. I think this is very exciting news. Hope you find it exciting too. Wanted to give you guys just a snippet of their 2-hour-long dev stream so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Basically, I covered all the big nuggets right here in the video. So if you enjoyed that, then please subscribe, hit that like button, help me out the YouTube algorithm. Plus, it helps spread the word about Dark Age of Camelot to other MMO enthusiasts, people that's maybe never played. And if you've never played, but you're interested because you always heard about it, definitely sound off in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from people like that. And that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're as excited as I am, man. I love Dark Age of Camelot. This was my baby. I loved it. It's so much fun. Anyway, have a good night, and until next time, my friends, God bless, and happy gaming.